and chaos. Hundreds of thousands of government workers were told to respond to an email from Elon Musk demanding they list 5 accomplishments. But they were then told by some top Trump officials to follow it, others to ignore it. What the Trump administration is now saying about whether employees need to abide by that order. Today marks the 3rd anniversary of Russia's invasion into Ukraine, as Russia launches one of its largest drone attacks of the war. As the role the U.S. is playing now shifts, Zelenskyy answers a tough question about his future.
Would you be willing to give up the presidency if it meant peace for Ukraine?
This as we look back on 3 years of the war, the toll it's taking, and what could be in store for the futures of both Ukraine and Russia. It's a story we've been following since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. A student from Gaza University displaced from her home and school. She's joined thousands of Palestinians now returning to northern Gaza, what she sees for the future. An 11-year-old girl takes her own life after her family says she was bullied because her parents were in the U.S. illegally. The emotional interview with her mother and a close friend about the days leading up to her death. How the community is honoring her memory.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Linsey Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with the hand-wringing and head-scratching for about 2 million federal government workers, all of whom received an email demanding that they explain what they have accomplished at work in the past week. On his platform X, Elon Musk said failure to do so will be taken as a resignation. The deadline is tonight at midnight, but just a short time ago, the HR department said it's optional. After days of silence, today President Trump called that email genius, saying if people don't respond, it's very possible that they're not working and they would be sort of semi-fired. At least 4 major agencies have told their workers not to respond, including the Justice Department, the State Department, and the Department of Defense. Thousands of workers have lost their jobs already. Several lawsuits about the legality of the layoffs are making their way through the court system. At town halls across the country, lawmakers are confronting concerns about cuts that may affect them and outrage about the way some of this is being carried out. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, leads us off from the White House.
Stand with first, and I'll come back to you, okay? I promise.
Tonight, growing backlash after Elon Musk gave more than 2 million federal workers until midnight tonight to send an email listing what they'd done in the last week or lose their jobs. In Belton, Missouri, long lines of people waiting to get into a town meeting for Republican Congressman Mark Alford.
Elon Musk has contracts with the federal government. But he is also, I think, doing an effective job.
Conflict of interest! Show me!
I know there are a lot of people who don't want to see waste, abuse, and fraud weeded out. Some of them here today.
I don't want him in charge of it.
Over the weekend, Musk posting on X, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Soon after, the Office of Personnel Management emailing workers, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week. Deadline is this Monday at 11:59 p.m. Then the confusion began. Newly installed FBI Director Kash Patel quickly telling his team the FBI, through the Office of the Director, is in charge of all of our review processes. For now, please pause any responses. At least 3 agencies, including the Justice Department, the State Department, and the Department of Defense, also instructing their employees not to respond to Musk's directive. But other agencies sending the opposite message. The Treasury Department telling its employees you are required to respond before the deadline. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy sending similar signals.
I have no problem with the employees here saying, what did you do last week? And if you can't come up with 5 things that you did, maybe you shouldn't be employed here.
The Department of Health and Human Services sending competing messages to its own workers, first telling them to respond to the email, then 6 hours later telling them not to respond. And tonight telling workers they can respond if they want to, but instructing assume what you write will be read by malign foreign actors and tailor your response accordingly. Still, other agencies insisting the email was optional. The Department of Agriculture telling workers there's no penalty for not responding. Today in the Oval Office, the president himself saying if you don't respond, you're semi-fired or fired.
We have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, What he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired.
The president calling Musk's idea ingenious. But tonight, the head of the largest union of federal employees says the workforce is on edge and very frustrated, adding the administration's goal is clear.
They want to confuse the workforce. They want to put fear in the minds of the workforce that they'll just quit.
Now, sources tonight are now telling us that the Office of Personnel Management is now telling agencies that this directive is voluntary. But, Linsey, we all heard what the president said today, that if you do not respond, you will be fired or semi-fired, Linsey.
So many people just unsure of what to do. And, Mary, the president has also announced a controversial #2 pick of the FBI. Tell us more about him.
Yeah, he's announcing the far-right podcaster Dan Bongino to be second in command at the FBI. He is a staunch and loyal Trump supporter. He's also stoked conspiracy theories about January 6th, then been deeply critical of the FBI. Linsey.
Mary Bruce from the White House. Thanks so much, Mary. Tonight on this, the 3rd anniversary of Russia's invasion into Ukraine, there is an uncertain outlook that still remains for that country. Today, President Trump met with France's President Emmanuel Macron, and both indicated there's a path forward to peace. But how that peace is obtained is still an open question tonight. The reality on the ground 3 years into this war is stark. Families bury loved ones every single day. Our chief White House correspondent Ian Pannell's in Kyiv tonight and has a look at what it may take for peace and the people caught in the middle of a war they did not ask for.
3 years since Russia launched a massive invasion of Ukraine. Today at the White House, President Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron pressed about their deep divisions when it comes to the future of Ukraine.
I've spoken to President Putin, and my people are dealing with him constantly, and they want to end this war.
With allies in Europe who've been left out of recent negotiations between the US and Russia watching closely, Macron making it clear this war can't end in Russia's favor.
This peace must not mean a surrender of Ukraine. It must not mean a ceasefire without guarantees. This peace must allow for Ukrainian sovereignty and allow Ukraine to negotiate with other stakeholders regarding the issues it affects.
When pressed, Trump again refusing to call Vladimir Putin a dictator, instead saying he might visit Moscow soon, a trip that would be a huge boost to Putin, who's been isolated from the West since the start of the war.
Mr. President, you called Zelenskyy a dictator. Would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out.
Russia now occupying 1/5 of all Ukrainian territory. Hundreds and thousands thought to have been killed. Millions forced from their homes.
The losses in this war are simply staggering. Today marks 3 long years of death, destruction and displacement. This is the second time Russia has invaded, and they need guarantees there won't be a third time.
The toll staggering, and one that we've seen with our own eyes over the past 3 years.
We're hearing the sound of fairly regular bombardment. We're close to the front lines. It's just down that road. The town of Irpin is being brutally shelled by Russian forces. Hundreds, thousands of civilians are desperately trying to get out of the town. We're traveling in a convoy with war crimes investigators. This is a recently liberated area, and already stories are starting to emerge of atrocities conducted by the Russians, and that's what we're going to see. I mean, it's hard to imagine that this was where someone was living. You can see the fire that's been here, the bomb damage. The only thing remaining that tells you this was someone's home is a radiator in the corner there. It's utterly shocking what they've done.
Тут вони утримувались. Ми зараз документуємо фактично в кожному населеному пункті були такі. Ну, я вам хочу сказати так, що саме за це місцеві, хто хоч якось спілкувалися з
But President Zelenskyy has stood strong and defiant as Ukraine's leader and is now under pressure, not just from Russia, but also the United States.
You're under pressure from Moscow to step aside and Washington to hold elections. Would you be willing to give up the presidency if it meant peace for Ukraine?
The Ukrainian leader telling me he's ready to resign if it means peace, and he offered to stand down if it meant membership of NATO, saying, "I'll do it immediately without a long conversation about it." The Trump administration pressing Zelenskyy to sign a deal giving the US permission to mine rare earth minerals and access to other resources. It appears very close to being sealed, but no sign of the security guarantees Ukraine needs to ensure Russia doesn't invade again. And this is why Ukraine needs those guarantees. Every single day for 3 years, Ukraine has been burying its sons and daughters. Alexander lost both of his legs in a Russian attack. It's a miracle he's alive. His body is broken, but his spirit strong. We can't stop the fighting, he says. It's the Russians who came here, not us. Yulia's been by her husband's side for more than a year of countless operations and a long, slow, painful recovery. They're strong for each other, but so is their 5-year-old daughter, Nicole. Yulia says whenever the girl gets money for her birthday or gifts, she sets it aside and says, "This money is for Daddy's legs." Ukraine's future now depends on stopping Russia from invading Ukraine for a third time, to preserve that tenuous path to peace and end this long and brutal war.
Ian Pannell joins us now from Kyiv on the 3-year anniversary of the war. And Ian, I know that you've witnessed so much over the past few years. Curious what you think that the Ukrainian people will feel about whether this path forward seems viable at all.
Yeah, I mean, certainly people are hopeful. People are weary. They're exhausted by the war. They've suffered so much. Every single night here in the capital, Kyiv, and we've been here now for about 7 days or so, every single night there are drone attacks. You see anti-aircraft flare going up into the sky, and people can hear the drones. They hear the sirens. And that has become the kind of new normality for Ukrainians. But, of course, there is nothing normal about it. Almost everyone knows someone who's lost their life. Everyone knows someone who's fled to Europe. And many people know people who are on the front lines right now. So they dearly, dearly want an end to this war. But it's important to remember what's so critical. The Budapest Memorandum was signed after the downfall of the Soviet Union. Basically, Ukraine giving up its entire nuclear arsenal, had the world's third largest nuclear arsenal, in exchange for security guarantees. That's why President Zelenskyy and Ukrainians will tell you the security guarantees here are key. It can't be a piece of paper. It can't be a promise to come to Ukraine's aid, because that didn't work in the past. And I think certainly what they've heard from President Macron and also Keir Starmer of the UK, the idea about deploying a peacekeeping force, again, I don't think they're convinced that's enough. They say that they want the weapons and the air defences to be able to defend themselves, because they do not trust Vladimir Putin and any piece of paper he signs that he won't try and invade Ukraine for a third time. Lindsay?
Distrust, obviously a huge issue there. All right, Ian Pannell, our thanks to you. And we continue our coverage, marking 3 years since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Joining us now is the former foreign minister of the Russian Federation, Andrei Kozyrev, who during his tenure advocated to improve U.S. and Russian relations and was a key player in the efforts to end the Soviet Union. Andrei, thank you so much for joining us. First, during these years since the start of the invasion, what do you think has been gained and also lost by Russia?
Well, President Putin started this war unprovoked, just for the 3 reasons. ABC of his war, which stand even today, are to strengthen his dictatorship inside Russia, creating this war hysteria. Second, to destroy Ukraine as potential democracy and as a potentially rich neighbor. And third, which is very important, is to discredit and as much as possible undermine the United States position in the world and unity between the United States and Europe.
Just last week, the U.S. and Russia met in the Middle East for a high-stakes meeting for the first time since 2022. Discussions focused on restoring U.S.-Russian relations, but also on putting an end to the Ukraine war. Notably, Ukraine and Europe were absent. What's your assessment of the choice to leave them both out?
Well, as I said, Putin does not want, even today, he does not want the end of the war. He wants to achieve those three aims. And the only way to stop him is to use force. That does not mean American or European boots on the ground, but it means giving Ukraine help, economic help, political help, moral help, and in particular, weapons to win this war. Winning war doesn't mean any kind of injury to Russia. It means only liberating Ukraine. As it was envisioned, territorial integrity of Ukraine was envisioned in the Budapest Memorandum, which was mentioned. I was one participating in literally handwriting this memorandum 30 years ago. And the memorandum makes it the obligation of the assigning nuclear states, and one of those was President of the United States, to protect territorial integrity of Ukraine as it was at that time. So that's the aim should be of the countries which took obligation for that matter.
But I just heard you say that you don't think that Putin wants this war to end, so you don't really think that we're on a path to peace.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. It's illusion, it's wishful thinking, and or even worse, appeasement. That is like in 1938 in Munich, the European countries signed an agreement giving Hitler Czech territories, and his promise just not to take more, but ended up in Paris. So, I mean, it ended up as a Second World War. So that's the path, unfortunately, we are on.
Andrei Kozyrev, we so appreciate your insight and time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now to the harrowing Delta flight out of Atlanta on its way to Columbia, South Carolina. They'd just taken off when the cabin filled with thick smoke. The pilots immediately turned back to Atlanta as passengers rushed to cover their faces, then using slides to escape. Our Gio Benitez covers aviation.
Tonight, thick smoke seen filling the cabin of this Delta Airlines flight, passengers covering their noses, the plane forced to return to Atlanta.
Smoke in the cabin and need to plan a return back.
The 25-year-old Boeing 717 bound for Columbia, South Carolina this morning with 99 passengers and crew on board. But just minutes into the flight, the cabin filling with that thick haze. Delta saying the flight crew followed procedures, making an emergency landing. Atlanta Fire Rescue helping to evacuate the plane. Passengers seen going down slides and standing on one of the wings.
When we went out of one of the exits, we were actually on the wing. And we kept saying, well, how are we going to get down? And we had to go back in the plane enduring more smoke and then go to the other exit and then fly down the chute.
And it comes after these incredible images. Over the weekend, an American Airlines flight from New York's JFK escorted by Italian Air Force fighter jets. The plane headed for New Delhi, India, landing in Rome after it was diverted because of a security threat.
The captain came on and said that there was a diversion due to a security issue.
A senior official telling ABC News the flight was rerouted due to a bomb threat received over email. Passengers bussed to the terminal for screening, Italian authorities conducting a security sweep of the aircraft. The threat later found to be non-credible.
Our thanks to Gio. Germany has chosen their next chancellor, and he's already taken a swipe at Donald Trump. With just over 28% of the vote, the leader of the Christian Democratic Union Party, Friedrich Merz, claimed victory. Merz has promised to strengthen and unite Europe, especially now that he says the Trump administration is, quote, indifferent to Europe's fate. Germany's far-right Alternative for Germany, or AfD party, surged to a historic second place. A new report from the USDA indicates egg prices continue to soar nationwide. The average price was $4.95 per dozen in January, nearly double the cost from a year ago. Prices have skyrocketed due to the spread of bird flu, an outbreak that has affected nearly 160 million birds. The Trump administration has said that they're working on a plan to increase biosecurity among flocks. Coming up, several snowmobilers were buried in a wall of snow on a mountain in Colorado. How they made it out of the avalanche alive. And tens of thousands of Palestinians are dead, and much of Gaza is destroyed beyond recognition. But it is still home for Palestinians. And so we follow one 22-year-old university student on her journey back to Gaza City.
I only recognize a wall from my home. It's just one wall. Otherwise, everything is just disappeared, as if it wasn't there.
Listen to me. You can do anything.
It's now or never.
Let's go.
We got a feeling we were getting a glimpse of the future.
The Oscars.
Hosted by me, Conan O'Brien.
Sunday, March 2nd, live on ABC and Hulu.
Mr. President.
You were the last person to see the president alive.
He was trying to warn me.
Agent Collins, you're the only one I really trust. And I want to tell you the truth.
You're about to be entrusted with top secret information.
The president did something. You're going to want to hear this.
The biggest secret is right under your nose.
What aren't you telling me?
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day of school. Yes! Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey, buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
In downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
ABC News Live everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Here in London.
From the front lines.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
My wife wanted to be seen as the perfect mom, so she created a YouTube channel.
A Mormon happy family, but only what we wanted to show them.
Weird things started happening. Ruby said the children were demonically possessed. That blew the powder keg.
I'm still recording!
Ruby has crossed a line of abusive to psychotic.
Lifestyle was an innovator.
They sounded like nothing else sounds.
They were doing church,
Blues, soul, funk, rock. Sly was the creator,
writer,
producer,
thinker,
poet.
His songs have been sampled by tons of artists.
He opened the portal. Oh yeah, come this way.
Welcome back, everyone. The fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas has enabled hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to make the journey from southern to northern Gaza to return to their homes or what remains of them. The war has leveled much of the landscape, and more than 48,000 Palestinians are dead, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The United Nations says 1.9 million people, that's 90% of Gaza's population, have been displaced, and 70% of the buildings there have been damaged or destroyed. Those who've returned have been shocked by the utter devastation, including Tala Herzala, a 22-year-old university student from Gaza City. Matt Gutman has her story.
This is the hall I was supposed to graduate from. I've dreamed of this day with my family and siblings and my professors. This place was always colorful. Everything now is black.
This is Gaza after 16 months of war. Mounds of dust and rubble replaced the buildings and the lives here, including the Islamic University of Gaza. And now, thanks to a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, 22-year-old Palestinian Tala Herzala, a star student, is returning to the ruins of her education.
I was supposed to stand there. I was supposed to see my parents here sitting and clapping for me. This is our cap. I was supposed to wear it. I'm here and I'm back to the rubble, to the empty chairs. I'm here to say that I'm about to graduate, but with nothing.
And nothing remains of Tala's home either. She brought her local team in Gaza to its ruins, the apartment block leveled by Israeli bombardment.
I only recognize a wall from my home. It's just one wall. Otherwise, everything is just disappeared, as if it wasn't there.
It's the very same place where we first spoke with Tala.
Oh my God.
Just days after Israel declared war on Hamas, the atrocities committed on October 7th.
The situation is very hard. No words can describe what we are living right now. Things are getting worse day by day, minute by minute.
With international journalists then and now prevented from entering Gaza, Tala brought us the realities of the war firsthand, as the world she knew rapidly collapsed around her.
In 1 second, we decided to leave our house and to go to the nearest hospital.
We're moving under the bomb.
Tala was displaced 6 times, spending the latter part of the war in crowded houses and tents. And amid the constant search for shelter in southern Gaza, Tala sought stability in her books, her desk, her education.
I'll try to find a scholarship or anything to complete my university degree. I'll start to find anything that gives me power to complete.
Surrounded by the few belongings she was able to take with her, she recalled the pain of losing family.
I lost 7 cousins with their families in this war. I can't find pure happiness. Every happiness is mixed with something sad. I don't want to remember these days. I don't want to remember how much I suffered, because no human beings can tolerate and bear this much of pain and suffering.
Tala now lives with relatives, and she says she's grateful to have 4 walls, a roof, real shelter.
I want my Gaza. I want the one before 7th October. I want the one that I left its roads and buildings and everything.
But on that day, Hamas legions invaded Israel. Members of other terrorist groups followed, as did thousands of civilians. Almost 1,200 Israelis were killed and 251 people taken hostage, not just by militants, but also by civilians. The current ceasefire and hostage release has made it possible for hundreds of thousands of Gazans to try to make it home. But the vast majority of Gaza's infrastructure is in ruins, with a further threat of unexploded ordnance and additional victims buried in the rubble. And the challenge of rebuilding seems almost unimaginable.
We are strong enough to build it again. We need a lot of machines and other stuff.
Tala rejects President Trump's proposal that Gazans leave while the land is redeveloped.
To President Trump and any person who wants to plan for our people, stay aside and give us the opportunities and the tools, and to leave us in this place alone. No one will do what we will do for our land.
Tala doesn't know if she'll be able to graduate this year. She does have a scholarship waiting for her at Earlham College in Indiana, if she can get there. But no matter where she ends up, she says her future is right here in Gaza.
I will return here, to work here, to live here, and to have my small family maybe in the future here. I see the future of Gaza in the hands of Gazans.
So many like Tala determined to stay there in Gaza. Our thanks to Matt Gutman for that. Coming up, the disturbing tactic employed by puppy thieves targeting a Colorado pet store, and the terrible toll Russia's war on Ukraine has taken on the everyday lives of civilians. We take a look by the numbers.
I found a beautiful Latina woman, and now I'm proud to say I have 3 kids, Puerto Rican. 3 Puerto Rican kids. Their names are Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. I have my daughters, but then I also have a 13-year-old stepson, all right? I love my stepson. He's almost like my family. He sleeps right there on my property.
Lifestyle was an innovator.
They sounded like nothing else sounds.
They were doing church,
Blues, soul, funk, rock. Sly was the creator,
writer,
producer,
thinker,
poet.
His songs have been sampled by tons of artists.
He opened the portal. Oh yeah, come this way.
It started with a spark.
Getting that golden ticket today.
Good luck on out the golden ticket.
That grew into a light.
Will change my life. I know you're nervous.
Show me a place where dreams come true.
I've never seen anything like it. You're going to Hollywood.
My dream came true.
There are surprises in every person.
Where dreams come true.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
Hurricane Helene screaming across the state, and that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
ABC News Live is there for you all morning live.
Right there, as events unfold across the day, breaking down the day's top stories. ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
And ABC News Live lighting up the weekend.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day of school. Yes! Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey, buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
Mr. President?
You were the last person to see the president alive.
He was trying to warn me.
Agent Collins, you're the only one I really trust. And I want to tell you the truth. You're about to be entrusted with top secret information.
The president did something. You're going to want to hear this.
The biggest secret is right under your nose.
What aren't you telling me?
Boys.
Auntie?
Oh.
This is how your father's business works. The life of crime and the life of this deli.
We're innocent. We'd be the first innocent brown people in jail. Oh my God.
There's a gun in the credenza. Finish him off now.
What?
What part of this are you not understanding?
Credenza, if I'm being honest, I don't think I know what that is.
Reporting on abortion rights from the Arizona State Capitol, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. The toll of war has afflicted every generation of Ukrainians, children whose schooling has been interrupted, professionals who suspended their careers to go fight for their country, and the elderly who worry their children or grandchildren may die before they do. Tonight, what Ukraine has suffered by the numbers. As our Ian Panel said earlier in the broadcast, Russia now occupies a fifth of all Ukrainian territory. And in the 3 years since Russia's invasion, more than 45,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed, according to President Zelenskyy. More than 12,600 civilians have also perished, according to the UN. And the UN estimates more than 2 million homes across Ukraine. 10% of the housing stock has either been damaged or destroyed by Russian bombs, missiles, and drones. Without a roof over their heads and under constant threat of attack, a quarter of the entire Ukrainian population, more than 10 million people, have been displaced internally or have become refugees. Russian society will also forever be changed by the war started by Vladimir Putin. Estimates vary, but approximately 200,000 Russian and Russian-aligned troops have seen their lives cut short on the battlefield. Coming up, 11-year-old Jocelyn Rojo Carranza died by suicide earlier this month. Family and friends say that she was being bullied at her school over her family's immigration status. Her mother sits down with our John Quinones and now wants to know why no one at Jocelyn's school in Texas told her. And today we remember Roberta Flack, the incomparable singer and songwriter whose hits blended jazz, soul, and R&B.
Are you a monster?
No, I don't believe I'm a monster.
How did she die?
When the tests came back, I thought, are you kidding me?
She's been poisoned.
Caitlin Connolly, convicted of poisoning the mom of her boyfriend.
A jury found that Caitlin committed manslaughter. For 7 years, the law agreed.
Then, last month, an appeals court overturning Caitlin's conviction.
Will you convene a grand jury to reindict Caitlin Connolly?
Little Miss Innocent, freed, now streaming on Hulu.
You wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you.
Jalen Hurts, you and the Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do next?
I'm going to Disney World.
What's good to watch? Read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
Get excited!
I love that so much. It's time for GMA Life.
GMA Life, streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
Boys.
Auntie?
Oh.
This is how your father's business works. The life of crime and the life of this deli.
We're innocent. We'd be the first innocent brown people in jail. Oh my God.
There's a gun in the credenza. Finish him off now.
What?
What part of this are you not understanding?
Credenza, if I'm being honest, I don't think I know what that is.
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day in school.
Yes! Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey, buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
I'd never seen that many skeletal remains. Thousands.
This killer, he's the Dahmer you've never heard of.
There were mannequins, almost like it was a club.
I felt the presence of evil.
Never before a face-to-face interview with a camera.
Why now?
Let me ask you, am I the evil culprit, the accomplice?
I'd like to know how the audience views me.
The Fox Hollow Murders, playground of a serial killer, only on Hulu.
A community is mourning the loss of an 11-year-old girl whose family says she took her own life. They say she was bullied over her parents' undocumented status. ABC's John Quinones speaks with her mother and other loved ones about their loss and what they hope happens now.
In the town square of Gainesville, Texas, a candlelight vigil for Jocelyn Rojo Carranza, an American girl who took her own life at the tender age of 11. Her family and friends say she was bullied to death because her parents were in the U.S. illegally. Her mother, Marbella.
Cuando estuve con mi hija, cuando me la desconectaron, yo escuché cómo su corazón se iba apagando poco a poco. Cómo se le iba viendo su color a mi hija. Demasiado fuerte para mí ver que estaba perdiendo a mi hija por completo.
Jocelyn was in the 6th grade at Gainesville Intermediate School, a little girl who wanted to be a gymnast and a cheerleader. Her family says they had no idea that over the last few weeks, Jocelyn was being constantly harassed and ridiculed by fellow students. Her mother says that only after her daughter passed away was she told by a school official that Jocelyn was bullied in the classroom and on the school bus.
How were they bullying her?
A ella le empiezan a decir que sus papás están aquí ilegales, que van a llamar a migración para que se lleve a tus papás y tú te quedarás sola aquí.
She was afraid she would lose you. Ella tenía miedo que los iba a perder, sí. La familia.
Era muy sensible. Sí, ella era muy sensible.
She blames her daughter's death on what she calls the anti-immigrant political climate in the U.S.
Se siente la gente, la que no quiere a los inmigrantes, creo que se siente con más derecho de opinar, tienen base de expresarse por las políticas del presidente.
Marbella says the school confirmed to her that Jocelyn had been seeing a counselor at Gainesville Intermediate, but she says she also only found that out after her daughter had taken her life.
You were never told she was being bullied? ¿Nadie te dijo? Antes?
Nadie me habló de la escuela, nadie me notificó nada.
They never called her, she says, until it was too late. More than a third of the population in Gainesville is Hispanic. Jesse Noble's daughter, Maddie, was one of Jocelyn's classmates.
Well, people are saying, like, ICE is going to take everybody's parents and stuff, and I was scared for my Hispanic friends.
Including Jocelyn.
Mm-hmm.
How did Jocelyn react to it?
She
take your time, baby.
I know she was scared, and she unfortunately took her life because of it, so I wish she knew how much people loved her.
Jocelyn spent her summer days at the Boys and Girls Club in Gainesville. Now her friends here are celebrating Jocelyn for who she was. Everywhere in the club, we see the letters LLJ, Long Live Jocelyn. Maddie wears those initials on her hand.
If you could say anything to Jocelyn now, what would you say to her?
I would say, we love and miss you. And nobody wanted you to be gone.
In a statement, the City of Gainesville police say their department is handling the investigation into Jocelyn's death. An investigation into the bullying allegations is being handled by the Gainesville Independent School District. Jocelyn's funeral mass was held in the same Catholic church where she was baptized.
Why is it so important for you to speak up?
Yo creo que lo que pasó con mi hija debe servir la historia de mi hija al mundo para que vean lo que las políticas del nuevo presidente están provocando. Que ella fue la primera víctima a causa del racismo, a causa de esto que pasó con mi hija, tiene que servir de algo y cambiar, porque no queremos más víctimas y mucho menos niños.
Hopefully there will be some kind of change. Our thanks to John Quinones for that. A thief fakes a medical emergency in a plot to steal puppies. What you need to know about the growing number of measles cases in Texas and New Mexico, and the moment snowmobilers were buried in an avalanche, all caught on camera. These stories and more in tonight's Rundown.
A brazen heist at a Colorado pet store, caught on camera. Surveillance video captured one male suspect talking to a store employee as the other suspect falls to the floor in what the shop's owner told local news was an attempt to create a distraction by faking a seizure. The other suspect quickly grabs two puppies out of their crates and runs to the front of the store as employees try to stop him.
He's throwing them around like pieces of meat and just grabs them and scrambles out of here.
The store owner said this is the second time their store has been targeted by thieves. Defense attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs argued in a new court filing Sunday that some evidence federal prosecutors obtained through searches should be suppressed because they were unconstitutional. Lawyers for the music mogul say the warrant applications for Diddy's houses, iCloud accounts, phones, and hotel room were overly broad and excluded facts that could have been favorable to Combs. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges that are based on the accounts of at least 3 women. Also today, one of Combs' defense lawyers withdrew from the case, Anthony Ricco writing he could no longer effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs. Weeks after filing for bankruptcy and announcing it would close more than half its stores, fabric retailer Jo-Ann now says it's winding down the company's operations and conducting going-out-of-business sales at all its stores. The retailer has battled multiple bankruptcies to stay afloat, but the company's assets were sold at an auction to a company that says they plan on shutting down all remaining stores. A scary moment on the slopes of Colorado was caught on camera accidentally as an onlooker was testing the zoom function on a new camera. That accidental witness captured an avalanche hurtling towards a group of snowmobilers. Video shows multiple riders sliding down the mountain as they were swept off their vehicles. Several snowmobilers were buried, but there were no serious injuries. Multiple measles outbreaks across the Southwest are now infecting people living in New Mexico. New Mexico health authorities are now confirming 9 cases of measles in the state. The state announced a vaccination effort is planned for next week across the state. The outbreak in Texas has hospitalized at least 16 people, with nearly 100 confirmed cases throughout New Mexico. The 2 outbreaks are not thought to be connected. Ohio Highway Patrol pulled over a U-Haul for driving partially on the shoulder and then made a surprising discovery: 700 pounds of marijuana packed in the back. The driver told police on body camera that the cannabis was heading to New York. Troopers say they filed felony drug charges against the driver in January.
If you're looking for a film to make your heart pound, look no further than the deep-sea thriller Last Breath. It follows the story of a saturation diver who gets separated from his boat and his oxygen supply nearly 300 feet down in pitch-black water, and it's based on a real event and a true diver named Chris Lemons, played by Finn Cole. Let's take a look.
How much gas does he have left?
10 minutes.
What happens now?
Your umbilical. It's gonna snap. You'll get pulled off the structure.
And we are joined now by Finn Cole. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It looks very intense. Give us a sense of what saturation diving is and what you had to do in order to train and prepare for the role.
Saturation diving is diving at much deeper levels than air diving. So it's replacing things like pipeline on the bottom of the sea, and it's between over 100 meters usually. So, like Chris describes it in the film and in the documentary that it's based on, it's a little bit like being an astronaut, but instead of going out to space, it's going underwater.
Makes sense. A good analogy we can all understand. What made you decide you wanted to be a part of this production?
Well, I'd seen the documentary a little bit before the script came into my inbox. My dad was a really keen scuba diver, so I remember sharing it with him and saying, "You've got to see this film. It's really, really exciting." And then when the script came around, I was like, this is amazing, what an opportunity. So jumped straight on board, and next thing I knew, I was in the water with the helmet on, doing all the training with Simu, and yeah, that was it.
And so the director, the cast crew really went through painstaking lengths to make this as real as possible, including being on the actual boat itself, filming in the middle of the darkness. What was that experience like?
I mean, we were doing night shoots, so that's about 6, 7 p.m. We were turning up to work until the break of dawn, underwater for up to 2-3 hours a night without any breaks. So it was really intense, but it was we were getting really, really involved, and we had the best training. The people over there in Dive Med and Alex Parkinson, our director, is really kind of well versed and really knowledgeable about this subject. So we were really well looked after, and the research process was just exciting for me because it's such an extraordinary job that these guys do, you know.
And you met the real life Chris Lemons. What was that moment like? What did he tell you about the role, and how did you prepare for the role after meeting him?
So Chris was so wonderful to meet. I think one thing that the guys told us on this project, these sat divers, one thing that you really have to be able to do is get along with people, because you're stuck in a very, very tiny space, not much bigger than this desk that you sit in front of, for a long, long period of time. So something that I really noticed about Chris was just how warm and how gentle and how sweet and generous he was with his knowledge and his experience. So actually getting to meet the real person and then being so open and helping you with that process was, yeah, a real luxury. And then, of course, being able to lean on someone like Woody Harrelson and Simu Liu for cast partners and scene partners is I say it's the dream, really.
And obviously on the surface, this is about this race against time, but what are some other underlying themes?
I like what we did there with the on the side. There are some underlying themes about perseverance and optimism. I think that's what I took from it. That's what I took from meeting Chris. You know, one of the things that Duncan, which is Woody's character, said when I first met him was, as sat divers, we don't have problems, we have solutions. And it was a really interesting way of looking at life. You know, when something's tricky comes along, it's like, how can I fix this? How can I better my situation? How can I put myself in the best possible position to survive this particular issue and problem? And that was something that I took away from it, and I like to think about when I'm having tough days now. So it definitely changed me, and I hope that it changed some people that watch it. It definitely has changed the people that have watched the documentary.
This is exactly what I tell my 10-year-old son. We don't have problems, we have solutions. So hopefully he'll be watching this and say, oh, wow, this is really a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I should follow it. All right, Finn Cole, we thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
The survivor thriller Last Breath opens in theaters on Friday. Finally tonight, the news that is killing us softly today. There was only one Roberta Flack. World News Tonight anchor David Muir has a look back at her music and legacy.
Roberta Flack's voice was unmistakable. Singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song. Her version of Killing Me Softly with His Song, winning 2 Grammys in 1973. Telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his song.
When I first heard the words, killing me softly with his song, just the sound of those words together had such magic for me.
Her smooth vocal style, her poetic, soulful ballads, her grace on the piano. One of the top recording artists of the 1970s. That's the time I feel like making love to you.
Roberta Flack was born outside Asheville, North Carolina in 1937. She was a classically trained pianist, so gifted she received a full scholarship at 15 years old to Howard University.
First musical memory is Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. And that was a very strong memory for me because that's where my Sunday school superintendent discovered that I had extra musical talent.
She became a school music teacher, and she would perform at night before pursuing her dream.
The transition from the classroom to the stage was a very easy, smooth one for me personally. I rather think that the facility was the direct result of my being prepared.
The first time ever I saw your face.
Her version, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, becoming her first hit after Clint Eastwood asked to use it in his 1971 movie Play Misty for Me. It would go on to win a Grammy. She would win 4 Grammys in all, a 5th Grammy for Lifetime Achievement. Roberta Flack died today at the age of 88, surrounded by family after a battle with ALS.
Love is a song and an honest giving of feelings and emotions. As a performer, if you can connect to that thought, then whatever the song is, it's success. I'm happy to be Roberta Flack. I'm happy to sound like I do. I mean, I'm very satisfied with that. Yeah.
Love is a song, and few sang it as she did. That is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up, a multi-state listeria outbreak has infected at least 38 people. 12 people have died. Now at last, the CDC says they know the food source that's to blame. And for everyone who's ever felt misunderstood or unheard, multi-hyphenate creator Tony Keith Jr. is here, and he'd like to have a word.
I found a beautiful Latino woman, and now I'm proud to say I have 3 kids, Puerto Rican. 3 Puerto Rican kids. Their names are Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. I have my daughters, but then I also have a 13-year-old stepson, all right? I love my stepson. He's almost like my family. He sleeps right there on my property.
I'm 110% ready to fall in love.
Tall, handsome, smart. He's perfect.
Time just stood still. It's kind of already sinking in that these other girls are dating my boyfriend.
Everybody just really wants Grant, and we're all fighting for his love.
You act like you don't care.
He knows how I feel.
I know I'm in trouble.
Everyone's so mean.
I did not know how hard this was going to be.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
Hurricane Helene screaming across the state, and that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story. As news breaks live.
ABC News Live is there for you all morning live.
Right there, as events unfold across the day, breaking down the day's top stories. ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
And ABC News Live lighting up the weekend.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Listen to me. You can do anything.
It's now or never.
Let's go.
We got a feeling we were getting a glimpse of the future.
The Oscars.
Hosted by me, Conan O'Brien.
Sunday, March 2nd, live on ABC and Hulu.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America. Get excited!
I love that so much. It's time for GMA Life.
GMA Life, streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
In downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
ABC News Live everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Here in London. From the front lines.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
Reporting from West Palm Beach, Florida, at the site of the Trump election night watch party, I'm Jay O'Brien. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin with the head scratching and confusion for about 2 million federal government workers, all of whom received an email requiring that they explain just what they accomplished at work in the past week. On his platform X, Elon Musk said failure to do so will be taken as a resignation. But just a short time ago, the HR department said it's optional. Today, President Trump called that email genius, saying if people don't respond, they could be fired or semi-fired. At least 4 major agencies have told their workers not to respond, but thousands of workers have lost their jobs already. Several lawsuits about the legality of the layoffs are working their way through the courts. Our chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce leads us off from the White House.
I'll come back to you, okay? I promise.
Tonight, growing backlash after Elon Musk gave more than 2 million federal workers until midnight tonight to send an email listing what they'd done in the last week or lose their jobs. In Belton, Missouri, long lines of people waiting to get into a town meeting for Republican Congressman Mark Alford.
Elon Musk has contracts with the federal government. But he is also, I think, doing an effective job.
Conflict of interest!
Show me! I know there are a lot of people who don't want to see waste, abuse, and fraud weeded out. Some of them here today.
I don't want him in charge of it.
Over the weekend, Musk posting on X, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Soon after, the Office of Personnel Management emailing workers, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week. Deadline is this Monday at 11:59 p.m. Then the confusion began. Newly installed FBI Director Kash Patel quickly telling his team the FBI, through the Office of the Director, is in charge of all of our review processes. For now, please pause any responses. At least 3 agencies, including the Justice Department, the State Department, and the Department of Defense, also instructing their employees not to respond to Musk's directive. But other agencies sending the opposite message. The Treasury Department telling its employees you are required to respond before the deadline. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy sending similar signals.
I have no problem with the employees here saying, what did you do last week? And if you can't come up with 5 things that you did, maybe you shouldn't be employed here.
The Department of Health and Human Services sending competing messages to its own workers, first telling them to respond to the email, then 6 hours later telling them not to respond. And tonight telling workers they can respond if they want to, but instructing assume what you write will be read by malign foreign actors and tailor your response accordingly. Still, other agencies insisting the email was optional. The Department of Agriculture telling workers there's no penalty for not responding. Today in the Oval Office, the president himself saying if you don't respond, you're semi-fired or fired.
We have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired.
The president calling Musk's idea ingenious. But tonight, the head of the largest union of federal employees says the workforce is on edge and very frustrated, adding the administration's goal is clear.
They want to confuse the workforce. They want to put fear in the minds of the workforce that they'll just quit.
A lot of confusion. Our thanks to Mary. Tonight, on the third anniversary of Russia's invasion into Ukraine, an uncertain outlook for that country. Today, President Trump met with France's President Emmanuel Macron, and both indicated there is a path forward to peace, but just how that peace is obtained is still an open question tonight. The reality on the ground 3 years into this war is stark. Families bury loved ones every single day. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell's in Kyiv tonight and has a look at what it may take in order to get that peace.
3 years since Russia launched a massive invasion of Ukraine. Today at the White House, President Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron pressed about their deep divisions when it comes to the future of Ukraine.
I've spoken to President Putin, and my people are dealing with him constantly, and they want to end this war.
With allies in Europe who've been left out of recent negotiations between the US and Russia watching closely, Macron making it clear this war can't end in Russia's favour. Saying peace must not mean a surrender of Ukraine and that peace must allow for Ukrainian sovereignty. The differences extending to Putin too. When pressed, Trump again refusing to call Vladimir Putin a dictator, instead saying he might visit Moscow soon, a trip that would be a huge boost to Putin, who's been isolated from the West since the start of the war.
Mr. President, you called Zelenskyy a dictator. Would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out.
Ukrainian President Zelenskyy, who Trump has called a dictator, under intense pressure from the White House to sign a deal giving the US permission to mine critical minerals and resources inside Ukraine. President Zelenskyy has stood strong and defiant, fighting for security guarantees Ukraine needs to ensure Russia doesn't invade again, telling me over the weekend he's ready to resign if it means peace.
You're under pressure from Moscow to step aside and Washington to hold elections. Would you be willing to give up the presidency if it meant peace for Ukraine?
Even offering to stand down if it meant membership of NATO, saying, I'll do it immediately without a long conversation about it.
Ian Pannell joins us now from Kyiv on this, the 3-year anniversary of the war. And Ian, I know that you've witnessed so much over the past few years. Curious what you think that the Ukrainian people will feel about whether this path forward seems viable at all.
Yeah, I mean, certainly people are hopeful. People are weary. They're exhausted by the war. They've suffered so much. Every single night here in the capital, Kyiv, and we've been here now for about 7 days or so, every single night there are drone attacks. You see anti-aircraft flare going up into the sky, and people can hear the drones. They hear the sirens. And that has become the kind of new normality for Ukrainians. But, of course, there is nothing normal about it. Almost everyone knows someone who's lost their life. Everyone knows someone who's fled to Europe. And many people know people who are on the front lines right now. So they dearly, dearly want an end to this war. But it's important to remember what's so critical. The Budapest Memorandum was signed after the downfall of the Soviet Union. Basically, Ukraine giving up its entire nuclear arsenal, had the world's third largest nuclear arsenal, in exchange for security guarantees. That's why President Zelenskyy and Ukrainians will tell you the security guarantees here are key. It can't be a piece of paper. It can't be a promise to come to Ukraine's aid, because that didn't work in the past. And I think certainly what they've heard from President Macron and also Keir Starmer of the UK, the idea about deploying a peacekeeping force, again, I don't think they're convinced that's enough. They say that they want the weapons and the air defences to be able to defend themselves, because they do not trust Vladimir Putin and any piece of paper he signs that he won't try and invade Ukraine for a third time. Lindsay?
Distrust, obviously a huge issue there. All right, Ian Pannell, our thanks to you. Now to the harrowing Delta flight out of Atlanta on its way to Columbia, South Carolina. They had just taken off when the cabin filled with thick smoke. The pilots immediately turned back as passengers rushed to cover their faces, then used slides to escape. Our Gio Benitez covers aviation for us.
Tonight, thick smoke seen filling the cabin of this Delta Airlines flight, passengers covering their noses, the plane forced to return to Atlanta.
Smoke in the cabin and need to plan a return back.
The 25-year-old Boeing 717 bound for Columbia, South Carolina this morning with 99 passengers and crew on board. But just minutes into the flight, the cabin filling with that thick haze. Delta saying the flight crew followed procedures, making an emergency landing. Atlanta Fire Rescue helping to evacuate the plane. Passengers seen going down slides and standing on one of the wings.
When we went out of one of the exits, we were actually on the wing. And we kept saying, well, how are we going to get down? And we had to go back in the plane, enduring more smoke, and then go to the other exit and then fly down the chute.
And it comes after these incredible images. Over the weekend, an American Airlines flight from New York's JFK, escorted by Italian Air Force fighter jets, the plane headed for New Delhi, India, landing in Rome after it was diverted because of a security threat.
The captain came on and said that there was a diversion due to a security issue.
A senior official telling ABC News the flight was rerouted due to a bomb threat received over email. Passengers bussed to the terminal for screening, Italian authorities conducting a security sweep of the aircraft. The threat later found to be non-credible.
Meanwhile, Lindsay, on that smoke incident in Atlanta, the FAA says it is investigating and trying to figure out where it came from. Lindsay?
Gio, thank you. New reporting tonight that the alleged gunman behind that deadly hostage standoff at a hospital in Pennsylvania was seeking revenge. The latest incident in a troubling rise in violence against healthcare workers. Our senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky has the latest.
Tonight, a senior law enforcement official tells ABC News anguish and anger over the recent death of a loved one motivated a deadly attack at this hospital. Police in West York, Pennsylvania say Diogenes Archangel Ortiz burst into the intensive care unit at UPMC Memorial Saturday morning with a semi-automatic handgun, wounding a doctor, a nurse, and a custodian, then zip-tying a staff member, taking her hostage.
Holding her at gunpoint, coming out into the hallway, the officers, left with no recourse, did open fire.
Ortiz killing West York police officer Andrew Duarte and wounding 2 more officers before he was killed by police. Duarte had just turned 30 and was one of only 13 officers on the West York force. His mother, Nancy, telling our affiliate WHTM.
The Lord used him to save the lives of others, even though it took Andrew's life, which I can't even believe when I say it out loud.
The attack follows the caught-on-camera assassination of healthcare executive Brian Thompson. Alleged killer Luigi Mangione, who was pleaded not guilty, has become a folk hero for some who see the crime as vengeance.
Violence at hospitals is rising, Lindsay. In recent years, healthcare employees have come under attack more than any other kind of worker in the private sector. Lindsay?
Aaron, thank you. A U.S. court has upheld former Theranos CEO and founder Elizabeth Holmes's fraud conviction. On Monday, a 3-judge panel rejected claims that Holmes and her former romantic partner made that the court committed several legal errors and violated their constitutional rights during their separate trials. Holmes was sentenced to 11 years in prison in 2022 for defrauding investors with false claims about her company's blood testing technology. Pope Francis remains in critical condition tonight, his 10th day in the hospital. But the Vatican reports he has seen a slight improvement. Encouraging news after taking a difficult turn over the weekend. ABC's Marcus Moore reports from the Vatican.
Tonight, cardinals and the faithful gathering in St. Peter's Square as Pope Francis spends an 11th day in the hospital.
My prayer is thy will be done, really. I don't know what to pray for. I hope he's not suffering.
The Vatican today saying the 88-year-old Pope showed slight improvement but remains in critical condition after suffering a prolonged asthmatic respiratory crisis over the weekend. The Pope requiring both oxygen and blood transfusions to increase his red blood cells and platelet count.
The Mother of the Church,
Cardinal Timothy Dolan of New York, making headlines suggesting the Pope was near death.
We of the Catholic family and so many of our friends and neighbors find ourselves this morning at the bedside of a dying father, as our Holy Father, Pope Francis, is in very, very fragile health and probably close to death.
On Sunday, doctors said the Pope showed slight signs of decreased kidney function, but insists it's under control as he battles pneumonia in both lungs. The Vatican saying today he's responding well to treatments.
You can't really expect much when you're managing critical patients because every day things can change, sometimes by the hour.
Just taking it minute by minute. Marcus Moore joins us now. Marcus, we're hearing that the Pope is still doing some work from his hospital bed.
Yeah, Lindsay, if we know anything about this Pope, we know that he likes to stay busy, and the Vatican says he did resume some work today, including making his routine call to the parish in Gaza. Still, doctors remain cautious about his prognosis. Lindsay.
Understandably so. All right, Marcus Moore for us. Thanks so much, Marcus. The CDC is now investigating a listeria outbreak linked to frozen supplemented shakes served to people at long-term care facilities and hospitals. 38 people from 21 states have been infected with this particular strain of listeria. 12 people have died. The outbreak is linked to Lions Ready Care and Cisco Imperial frozen supplemental shakes made by Prairie Farms. All have been recalled. The CDC is tracking a new strain of coronavirus discovered in bats in China. The new strain was discovered by researchers at the Wuhan Institute in China. They say lab studies show it may have the potential to infect humans. The CDC says there is currently no reason to believe the virus poses a concern to public health, and there are no known human infections. Coming up, a trial is underway in France. A surgeon is accused of hundreds of acts of sexual abuse, including of children who were under anesthesia, and the effort to toughen legal framework so that this never happens again.
Mr. President?
You were the last person to see the president alive.
Payne's trying to warn me.
Agent Collins, you're the only one I really trust, and I want to tell you the truth.
You're about to be entrusted with top secret information.
The president did something. You're going to want to hear this.
The biggest secret is right under your nose. What aren't you telling me?
It was a kidnapping, torture case.
A crime of greed and cruelty.
The men tortured the victim by beating, tasing, and burning him.
And this is where it gets really horrible. The guy was cutting off my roommates. It was like a bad dream.
This crime was horrific.
He's a psychopath.
How could you possibly defend somebody like that?
This was a story about greed, sadism, evil.
Wicked Game, Devil in the Desert, only on Hulu.
My wife wanted to be seen as the perfect mom, so she created a YouTube channel.
A Mormon happy family, but only what we wanted to show them.
Weird things started happening. Ruby said the children were demonically possessed. That blew the powder keg.
I'm still recording! Ruby has crossed a line of abusive to psychotic.
It's now or never.
Let's go.
We got a feeling we were getting a glimpse of the future.
The Oscars.
Hosted by me, Conan O'Brien.
Sunday, March 2nd, live on ABC and Hulu.
Reporting from the White House on election night, I'm Mary Alice Parks. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Germany's center-right party won sufficient numbers of seats in the national election and will build a coalition with the center-left Social Democrats. The far-right party, ADF, supported by American leaders like Vice President Vance and Elon Musk, won second place, its strongest result ever. Friedrich Merz, who is set to become the new chancellor, has promised a seismic shift in relations with the U.S. The center-right leader said that his priority will be to strengthen Europe and achieve independence from the United States. The first phase of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is set to end on Saturday, and it's unclear exactly what comes next. The two sides were supposed to start negotiating a second phase weeks ago, but it appears that Israel would be trying to extend phase one. Hamas, on the other hand, says it won't negotiate until the 600 prisoners whose release was delayed are freed. A French surgeon was accused of sexually assaulting 299 of his patients, most of them children. His case is considered France's worst case of pedophilia to ever go to trial. During his opening statement, the surgeon said that he had committed despicable acts. He faces up to 20 years in jail if found guilty. Often behind a microphone, reciting spoken word, multi-hyphenate creative Dr. Tony Keith Jr. is turning the page in his purposeful poetry writing, entering a new chapter with a fresh collection of prose. In Knucklehead Poems, Dr. Tony Keith Jr. uses his art to empathize with young people who are often misunderstood and unheard. Dr. Tony Keith Jr., kind enough to join us now. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here. It's good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. Let's start with the title, Knucklehead Poems. Why Knucklehead?
I chose Knucklehead because, first of all, I just wanted a title of a book that would be catching, obviously, for readers, but also because I was the kind of person that grew up in a community I was called a knucklehead, but it was always considered a bit of a term of endearment.
Sure.
It was like, oh, there's this laughable, lovable little boy who probably has a little smart mouth. He might have a little bit of sass, right? But he's a lovable person. And so I thought so much about the many knuckleheads that I know in my life. And I was like, I want to title this book after, these lovable, sometimes misunderstood Black boys, especially the gay queer ones.
And so that was my next question that you just led into. You said that this is for really primarily Black men and boys, but especially gay and queer. Why focus in particular on that segment of the population?
I just think so much about the narratives that are often being shared about Black boys, that we are unlovable, that, we're aggressive, that we're, destined to be locked up and that we're not well educated. And I think so much about like how we need positive affirmations. We need positive reminders of our humanity, that we are worthy of joy and leadership and love. And so I wanted to put together a collection that provided a counter narrative to some of that negative stuff.
When you write your poetry or spoken word, what do you draw from for inspiration?
I look at my poetry writing, honestly, as a spiritual exercise. That might sound a little unusual for some people out there, but I think so much about like when I'm feeling heavy, and sometimes I don't know what that heavy feeling is, that's usually when I write. When I was a kid, I would never say, oh, mom, pop, grandma, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm depressed, I'm confused. I would say, it feels like my foot is falling through a puddle in the desert. So all the poems in Knucklehead, for the most part, are poems that I've written to myself over the last 30 years, just dealing with my world. They weren't supposed to be published in a collection. They were just to keep me safe and protected.
You mention Langston Hughes often and really even embody his style in your work. You encourage others to do the same. What inspires you so much about him?
So many things. First of all, it's the rhythm and it's the rhyme. It's the musicality of Langston Hughes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And I remember, because a lot of the poetry books that I read as a kid were not the books that were given to me in school. And so shout out to my Black women friends who would give me Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou, Countee Cullen, Paul Laurence Dunbar, Langston Hughes, and I'm reading the works of Black poets, and they write with this rhythm, and Langston Hughes was great at that. So I remember reading his collection of poems. I still have them, and I remember having to like say some of them out loud. There was sort of this call, like this need to speak this out loud so I can hear the rhythm and the rhyme. And then, of course, later finding out that Langston Hughes was not straight is also fascinating.
So much of your work, your research has appeared in multiple platforms. You've gotten a lot of recognition for your work. How do you define success?
That's a great question. Success for me, I'm gonna use a very broad term, is like freedom. And so by that I mean, when I think about success, I think about the freedom that I have to speak how I need to speak, to show up in places how I need to show up. I love the fact that I wrote this book and my first book, and I use African American vernacular English or Black language. I think there's something to be said about being an authentic person. And so for me, success looks like as long as I am authentically being myself, as long as I'm showing up in places as I am. I wear blue and denim all the time. I'm always a poet. And I'm like, for me, that's what success looks like. So it's not money, it's not fame. It's more about emotional freedom. It's linguistic freedom. It's intellectual freedom, but also the ways in which that impacts the communities that I care the most about. So for me, success also looks like young Black boys being like, yo, Mr. Keith, I want to be a poet. Hey, Mr. Keith, I wrote this poem today. Or hey, Mr. Keith, I think I might be gay, right? This idea that it's awakening something in people, readers, adults and young people.
Dr. Tony Keith Jr., we thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
You can now purchase Knucklehead Poems wherever books are sold. Coming up here on Prime, a super sweet act of kindness. A group of kids teach us all a lesson.
Boys.
Auntie?
This is how your father's business works. The life of crime and the life of this deli.
We're innocent. We'd be the first innocent brown people in jail. Oh my God.
There's a gun in the credenza. Finish him off now.
What?
What part of this are you not understanding?
Credenza, if I'm being honest, I don't think I know what that is.
It started with a spark.
Getting that golden ticket today.
Good luck on out the golden ticket.
That grew into a light.
Will change my life. I know you're nervous.
Show me a place where dreams come true.
I've never seen anything like it. You're going to Hollywood.
My dream came true.
There are surprises in every person.
Where dreams come true.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now. There's a lot going on here this morning.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be there.
I am here and so happy. I'm in. I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara, Ginger.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
Hurricane Helene screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story. As news breaks live.
ABC News Live is there for you all morning live. Right there. As events unfold across the day.
Breaking down the day's top stories. ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
And ABC News Live lighting up the weekend.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day of school. Yes. Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey, buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Finally tonight, the little leaguers, the little girl, and the lesson for us all. An extraordinary act of kindness recently played out in an Arizona park. While 6-year-old Olivia's older brother was at Little League practice, her mother saw her approach 3 players from another team. When the boys included her in their circle without hesitation, her mother, Mandy Mulligan, took out her phone to capture the special moment.
They started probably a 10-minute long Ring Around the Rosies session with her, and every time they would clap for her and tell her good job and high-five her.
Olivia was born with Down syndrome and is mostly nonverbal.
They weren't afraid of different, and they just put down any need to be cool and just played with her.
Those boys later shared their reaction.
She might not be able to talk or maybe not even play sometimes with us, but I think the way that makes her special is that she's just a great person inside. We all love her. She has like the biggest smile ever. She was like really easy to be nice to and friendly.
After the Queen Creek Little League heard about Olivia, they invited her to throw out the first pitch at Friday's opening night game. A home run of a different kind. Love to see that moment. That is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day of school. Yes. Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey, buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
You wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are, anything
Jalen Hurts, you and the Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do next?
I'm going to Disney World.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
Get excited!
I love that so much. It's time for GMA Life.
GMA Life, streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
I found a beautiful Latina woman, and now I'm proud to say I have 3 kids, Puerto Rican. 3 Puerto Rican kids. Their names are Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria.